Hello and welcome back to the Elite Challenge. Last time, 4 competitors made it to the lofty heights of Stage 3, but their tournament ended there, with Frimomo Direct getting the furthest and securing yet another first place finish in his first back-to-back of all time. Now, another 100 competitors lined up on the start line for the Elite Challenge Tournament 15. As always, we kick off with Stage 1. Competitors emerge up the staircase onto the starting platform, and greeting them first will be Shape Hill. Scramble up the front side over the shapes, slide down the back, clip the little ledge and make the jump to the dismount before heading onto the bar crawl. Same as the previous tournaments, 8 ledges, very lethal. Next up comes the coat hangers. They're inverted from their normal position. Hop down those, make your way onto the wall, now featuring a trampoline mount. See how competitors utilize that. Get up to the top and then you're faced once again with the rolling log. Roll the cylinder down the track, avoid touching it at all costs. Make it down to the other side, where you will be greeted with the turbines. It took out nearly half the tournament as the first obstacle in the last tournament, so it's been moved further back in the stage this time around. And then it's the ever deadly curtain slider. Make your way from ledge to ledge using the wall to make the distance, and if you can survive that, you'll be treated with a one-way trip up Crash Mountain. Make your way past the balls whichever way you see fit, all the way up to the top. Make the little hop to the landing platform, hit the landmine, and if you can do that all within 1 minute 55 seconds, you'll be advancing to Stage 2. And the first competitor up is Junsato Cyan. You can see number 901. This is the tournament where the Elite Challenge will hit 1,000 total Stage 1 attempts. So everyone looking to put their best foot forward as Cyan onto the course for his 115 seconds. Making quick work, scrambling up Shape Hill, slides down the back, and now onto the bar crawl. Cyan, of course, made it further this tournament already than he did in the last. He was one of the 47 people that got cleaned out by the turbines in the last tournament. So he's looking for redemption today. That's why he's in the number 1 position. Takes a double bounce on the trampoline, and now it starts to climb up the wall, ledge by ledge, peg by peg, all the way up to the top. Next up is the rolling log. He's had difficulty with this in the past. Cyan hops on board, gets the log rolling, keeping under control, goes for a save once, twice, and thrice to the dismount platform. Now the turbines. This is where he came up short in the last tournament. So he knows to treat this with some respect. And Cyan to the second, to the third ring, and the fourth. Cyan beats the obstacle that took him out last time. Now onto the curtain slider. Skips that third ledge, goes for speed, saves it, tucks it back in, goes up high. Cyan, save jump once, twice again. Going up the high path all the way to the dismount, 30 seconds just under as he hits Crash Mountain. Junsato Cyan, he's cleared 3 times. He's within 20 seconds of making it a 4th. The bull's pushing him back though. They don't want him to get through. Cyan getting held in place, just trying to run through the bulls, trying to tank it, but the klaxon is sounding. Cyan, you've got to make a move. Sidesteps them, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, hits the landmine, 2.79 seconds on the clock. First man up, first man through, and Junsato Cyan setting a very credible mark to beat as the first competitor this tournament. Let's see if anybody else can follow him. Way to go, Cyan. And the first person to take on that task is the newcomer, Rich Squigs. Rich been in and around the jumping community for a while, making the Elite Challenge debut, and his 115 seconds are underway as Rich makes his way up Shape Hill, down the other side, big jump to the dismount platform, and Rich Squig's first obstacle beaten. Now onto the bar crawl. Slips back down, retries, gets the landing, starts to make his way up the bar crawl, makes it all the way to the top, and then back down the coat hangers, goes for the first one to the third one, and he overshoots the fifth. Rich Squigs is out. We move on now to Skull Crusher 165. This is a competitor back on Halo 5. He's making his return to the Halo jumping community. This is also the Elite Challenge debut. Sliding down Shape Hill, nice and easy. Skull Crusher now onto the bar crawl. Making his way up very quickly indeed. Touch and go, and now down the coat hanger, straight to the second, then the fourth, then the sixth. Skull Crusher now onto the wall. Historically has been a real trip hazard for newcomers, and Skull Crusher out again adds to that total. Next up we have August Halo, returning from all the way back in Tournament 2, where he failed the rolling log. So August Halo has his mark to beat. But first up is Shape Hill. August Halo makes sure he makes the landing, crashes into the blocker there before sliding down the backside, but makes it. Whatever strategy works, however weird or wonderful it seems, as long as you get to the other side, all is good. August Halo taking his time a bit on the bar crawl, starting to speed up towards the top, beats the obstacle, now onto the coat hanger, making his way back down to the fifth and the sixth, and down. August Halo now onto the wall, first hop on the trampoline, second one, trying to build some height, sends it on the third time of asking, but he ends up right on the bottom of the wall. He's got a bit of climbing to do, and he's going to overshoot that third peg. August Halo down and out. And just like that, we're now on to Matty the Div, the host of Bedrock Sasuke, and another competitor who got wiped out by the turbines in the last tournament. And Matty, far better than his result in the last tournament would lead you to believe, and he's looking now to put a result on to back that up. Very quickly through Shape Hill, now he's climbing the bar crawl. To the fifth bar, the sixth, saves it, the seventh, saves it, eight, now onto the coat hangers, 1, 3, 5, and all the way down for Matty the Div, lining up the run onto the wall, hits the trampoline right in the center, second bounce, goes for it, lands on the bottom peg as well, save jumps up to the third, then the fourth, fifth, sixth, and Matty up and over the wall. Now it's the rolling log. Hops on board, opens fire to get the log rolling, going down sideways, holding right on the front of the log. Nearly gets rolled off twice there, but he makes his way down. Now he's got his rematch with the turbines. Matty going right, going quite high up the ring. He's got a plan, second ring, third ring, saves it. Nearly came up short there as the camera has to fly around the bars. Matty the Div though gets his revenge on the turbines, and now he's onto the curtain slider. First ledge, up to the second, quickly to the third. Now the fourth, Matty times against him, but he's overshot and he slipped off. Matty the Div out on the curtain slider, but a good run though. Up next is CJG the runner. Missed the last tournament, but in the previous one, tournament 13, he failed the first obstacle. Let's hope he'll do better today. 115 seconds are already ticking for CJG the runner. He slides down the back of Shape Hill, makes the dismount, lands it, and that's an improvement on his last attempt. Now, starting to climb the bar crawl. Fourth bar to the fifth. Looking for the sixth. The seventh. He tried the angle technique, but he overshot it anyway, and CJG out once again. Next up, the Slovenian. This is Mickey Cop 8. A frequent competitor on the Elite Challenge. This is his 11th time taking on the course. Still chasing his first taste of Stage 1 success. Will it be today? Mickey Cop slides down the backside of Shape Hill. Now onto the bar crawl. First bar, second, save, third, save, 4. Save. Mickey Cop looks like he has a strategy. Nearly came up short there onto that 6th bar. Likewise the 7th. But he's making progress to the 8th. Now down the coat hangers. 2, 4 to the 6th. And Mickey lands it. No lining up straight into the wall. Gets a double bounce off the trampoline, but doesn't quite angle it well enough. And Mickey Cop out on the wall once again. Next up is Warrior 15. Another person who on debut got wiped out by the turbines. Let's see if Warrior can get into the stage proper this time. Sliding down Shape Hill, gets the jump, makes the landing. And Warrior onto the bar crawl. First bar, 2nd to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, making really good progress, but he's overshot that 6th ledge, and Warrior down and out as well. And following him, Apog didn't have a great run. Angaricus made it all the way up to the top of Shape Hill, but missed the dismount. Wellerman came up short on that very first jump as well. And likewise Vladimir, who tried to save it but couldn't, got pushed backwards. And that brings us to Coveralis for his 11th appearance. And Coveralis, yet another person who got wiped out by the turbines in the last tournament, but yet still recorded his best placement in a 100 competitor tournament. So Coveralis slides down the back of Shape Hill and he lands it. And that is a decent benchmark for Coveralis. That's his first obstacle beat since tournament 10, but he goes straight off on the bar crawl. And that's his tournament over. Next up, we have Shaxbird. He makes the big jump, but he's going to come up short as well, and Shaxbird out already. That's a pretty regular competitor going out on the first obstacle. Here comes Mr. Random 287. He's going to make that first jump. Starts to climb up Shape Hill to the 2nd rung and the 3rd. Up and over the top. Mr. Random now lining up, slides down, makes the jump, makes the landing. And now into the bar crawl. Struggling to make that first jump to the 2nd bar, but he's made it. Now up to the 3rd. And the 4th. 5th. And he's overshot the 6th and missed the random down and out. But that is a personal best for him, so we'll be happy with that. Up next, we have Virus GR42. He managed to break the curse of the turbines in the last tournament, but went out immediately after on the waveform. That obstacle not in play today, so let's see how Virus does. He's making a bit of a meal of climbing Shape Hill, but he's made it up to the top. Looking to line it up on the way down, goes for the big sprint, slides down, but comes up short of the dismount, and Virus is out. Next up is Pixel Kitty making her return. Her 115 seconds begin, and she just about makes that first jump. Manages to hold on to the cylinder, but Pixel Kitty now starting to climb. Misses that 3rd rung. Gets it 2nd time of asking though. Now looking to drop down the slide. Trying to line things up. Get as close to the edge as she can before committing. Down she goes. Big jump. And comes up short. And Pixel Kitty is out. Next up we have Invoicing Corgi. Made her debut in the last tournament, only to get taken out on the turbines. Can she do better today? First jump onto Shape Hill, misses the 2nd rung, once, twice, lines it up, 3rd time's the charm. And Invoicing Corgi now all the way up to the top very quickly indeed after that initial stutter. Down the slide, makes the jump, now onto the bar crawl. And already going for the angles technique, big sprint. And then jumping up at an angle to increase the landing distance. In fact, crashing into the stopper pieces at the end there is Invoicing Corgi all the way to the top. Beats the bar crawl. Now on the descent down through the coat hangers. To the 4th, to the 5th, and the 6th. And now Invoicing Corgi versus the wall. Big jump in. 1 bounce. 2, 3. Trying to build up some height. There's technique to this, but the Invoicing Corgi's timing is a bit off. Now we start to see some height. Time's ticking away though, goes for the send, lands it on the first peg. Tries to sprint into the wall again, but comes up short, and Invoicing Corgi out on the wall. Now up next is Tarmac Griffin. His 115 seconds are already underway. A competitor in the past who's promised to use all of his skill and experience. He's built up 13 runs worth of experience, and you can see him beating the first obstacle. Also going for the sprinting angle technique, but just about hanging on. Tarmac Griffin gets it back together, starts to angle once again, sprinting back and forth, climbing up the bar crawl to the top. Now down the coat hangers. Skips the second one, but comes up short of the third. Tarmac Griffin is out. Next up we have Grin of the Cat, making his return to the course after debuting in the last tournament. Didn't get very far then, and he hasn't done today either. Grin of the Cat down already. Up next is the first competitor to hit 15 appearances on the Elite Challenge. This is Creepy Tomcat. He's bought a turret with him. Let's see if that will pay dividend. Creepy Tomcat climbing up Shape Hill. With this run will become the most experienced competitor to never get a stage clear, and he's going to slip back down Shape Hill. Manages to deal with that though, slides down the back, makes the landing, now onto the bar crawl. Makes the first bar. He's lining up as if he was going to go for the zigzag technique, but he's going just up in a straight line. Creepy Tomcat to the fourth bar. Now the fifth. And the sixth. Seventh. And all the way to the top of the bar crawl. Now looking to line up the descent down the coat hangers. First block to the second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. And all the way down. Now here comes the wall. How will he fare with the trampoline? Runs straight into it but doesn't get a big bounce, and Creepy Tomcat down and out on the wall once again. Speaking of the wall, this is Bussy666. He's failed that obstacle a number of times, so he'll be out for revenge. Once again failed it in the last tournament, and Bussy the Dutchman looking to try and get there for another shot at it. Makes light work of Shape Hill though, now up the bar crawl. Far quicker than Creepy Tomcat, and in fact all the way up to the top. Now starts to go down the coat hangers, straight to the fifth one, makes the dismount. Now here comes the wall again. Bussy runs straight down the center, gets a huge bounce, and he's going to get all the way up to the top, and Bussy beats the wall. Now how will he fare on this second half of the course? Hops onto the rolling log, starts to roll. Bussy on top, looking to try and stay under control, and he's going to make it all the way down the log and straight into the turbine, and down and out goes Bussy. Must be a personal best run, if not far from it for him though, so very well done indeed. Next up is the second competitor to hit 15 appearances this tournament. Here comes Makofoven from France, the best mechanic for myself in the Formula Blue series. He slides down Shape Hill. He beats it once again as well. Now up the bar crawl. Very experienced with this obstacle. Up to the fifth bar. And he's going to undershoot that fifth bar, and Makofoven out relatively early. Next up we have a returning Robin Merling. He last competed back in Tournament 12 where he made his debut. Went out on the first obstacle, so can he improve on that today? No paper airplanes this time, just Shape Hill. And Robin makes it up, slides back down, makes the jump but comes up short, and Robin Merling will have to wait to get his first obstacle clear. Up next is Sherman, and his 115 seconds are off, and he's come up short, but he saved it on the ledge at the bottom. Saved it once, saved it twice, but can't recover, and he's out already. Up next is Deadaweight UK, looking for a big run up, and a big jump to start his 115 seconds, and he makes the distance. Lines up the second rung of shapes, up to the third, and onto the top. Now down the slide, Deadaweight creeping forward, big sprint, lots of speed, easily makes the dismount there, lots of extra room for error. And now onto the first bar of the bar crawl. Has a moment to ponder what he's doing. Starts to make some good progress now though. And dead awake, 5th bar to the 6th. And the 7th. And now the 8th. Now looking to line up the coat hangers on the downhill. Dead awake to the 3rd. Now the 5th. Big jump to the landing platform. He makes it. Now he's lining himself up for the wall. Can he learn from Bussy and get that big hop up the middle? He's going to go for it. He gets it. And he lands it. Now dead awake only 2 jumps away from beating this obstacle. If he can land the first peg, that'll take him almost up to the top. Goes for it, but he crashes into it and can't hang on the way down. Dead awake is out on the wall. Up next is Truls Olsen 85. And Truls in his previous couple of appearances has gotten really deep into the first stage. So how will he fare today? 115 seconds. And he's already up to the top of Shape Hill. Now sliding down the back, gets the jump. Truls makes the landing. Now onto the bar crawl. First bar to the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 4th. And now the 5th, 6th, 7, 8. Truls getting some momentum. Starts to go down the coat hangers, hitting each one individually all the way to the bottom. And now sprinting straight for the wall. First bounce on the trampoline, 2nd, 3rd. Truls really trying to build up a bit of height. And there he goes, halfway up the wall in one big bound. And now Truls, 2nd to last peg. And he makes it all the way up to the top, still with a minute in the bank. Next up is the rolling log. Sends the log on its merry way, and Truls hanging on the front. 1 save, 2 save, dismount, and straight into the first ring of the turbines. What's he doing? He's going on top of the beams. Truls, I haven't seen anybody try this, but he's making it work. Truls Olsen hopping across the turbines, but actually on the top of the spinning bars. That is a new one, but he's made it through with ease. And now onto the curtain slider. 3rd ledge, big hop to the 4th one, but he's going to slip off, and Truls down and out after a very impressive run. Up next we have Kimchi Yaru. He's taking on the course for his 12th time today, and his 115 seconds are underway. And Kimchi climbing up to the top of Shape Hill. Big fast descent, and makes the landing with ease. Now the bar crawl. He's very familiar with this obstacle. He's beaten it a couple of times. He knows the technique, and once again Kimchi no trouble at all. Now on the way down the coat hangers, straight to the 6th one, lands it, onto the wall, goes straight down the middle with a huge bounce. He makes it up the wall in one single leap. That is impressive. And now Kimchi Yaru onto the rolling log. Save jump off the back, save jump off the front. Kimchi makes the dismount. Now straight into the turbines. Not going to follow Truls over the top, but he's going to hop through the rings with ease. The camera doesn't manage to keep up, but Kimchi through the turbines, and another person now onto the curtain slider. This is Kimchi Yaru going very deep. He still has 50 seconds left. This is a huge run from Kimchi if he can make it to the other side of this obstacle. Hop up to the up ledge, goes for the high ledge, but misses, and he slips past the low one. Kimchi, that was a great run, and he's come up short on the curtain slider. Now up next we have a returning Whirlpool 730. Been a very promising competitor in his own right, and he's shouldering the burden of the number 29 slot. He made the call. He said, I'm feeling confident, I'm going to back myself. Let's see if he can keep that particular streak alive. 100 seconds still to go, and he's halfway up the bar crawl. Whirlpool. He's been out on the 3rd obstacle before, but he's not gonna fall the same fate today. Whirlpool lines up the wall, big hop down the middle, straight to that 4th peg, 5th peg, 6th, and up to the top. Now the rolling log. Whirlpool hops on board. Starts the log rolling. 70 seconds still on the clock. First save jump. Doesn't even need a second. Nearly gets rolled off. Nearly overshoots the platform. But nearly only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. He's still alive. First ring of the turbines. Second. To the third. Whirlpool. To the fourth ring. Makes the dismount. And now on to the curtain slider. First ledge. Second. To the third. To the fourth. Save jump. Reset. Big sprint. Manages to save it. Goes up. Goes up all the way to the top. Whirlpool. And he's going to beat the curtain slider. 25 seconds to go. And only Crash Mountain between him and his first taste of stage 2. Come on, Whirlpool. He's punching the ball, trying to use it as a blocker. Goes up and over. He's got a bit of clear air. He's going to make some good progress, but here comes the waterfall. Whirlpool, the klaxon sounding. Goes up and over. Knocks that final ball out. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, less than a second on the clock. Less than a second? Less than 2 seconds on the clock. 1.85 seconds. Whirlpool 730 makes it the second person onto stage 2 today. And that is a first time clear for Whirlpool. Way to go, and we'll see you on stage 2. And here's a competitor who's been there before, all the way back in Tournament 1. This is Flamosaurus. Another one of the many people whose tournament got cut short by the turbines in the last tournament. But Flame, he's had a bit of a rough run on the Elite Challenge. Cleared in Tournament 1 and then has been really beaten up by the course ever since. So Flame looking for... well, he's always looking for the bounce back, but this time he's already managed to get further than he did in the last tournament. Very quickly down the coat hangers as well. Now onto the trampoline. Flame, nice hop, straight onto the wall. Starts to climb. Using that right-hand side path has become so common in the last few tournaments. Up and over. Now the rolling log, 75 seconds as he hops on board. Flame sets the log on its merry way. Down the track we go. First save, second to the landing platform. And now Flame, the rematch with the turbines, goes straight for the first, straight for the second, straight for the third, straight for the fourth, and Flamosaurus doesn't leave the turbines time to do anything to him. Now, 50 seconds coming up on the clock, and he's halfway through the curtain slider already. Flame is flying. Saves it, goes up high, drops down low, final ledge, and Flamosaurus. Rematch with Crash Mountain. This has not gone his way very often at all in the past, and Flame now fighting with everything he's got. He's inching forward, the balls are piling up against him. 25 seconds left on the clock though. Flame's got time to play it safe. He's making moves, stops 4 balls, goes across the top of them, gets clipped once, twice, thrice, gets knocked back into another ball, but Flame makes the dismount. 11.69 seconds, and Flamosaurus' stage 1 clear drought comes to an end. He will be going back to stage 2, and with a comfortably fastest time of the day so far. That's 30 runs down, 3 people through. Let's see how the remaining 70 get on. And instantly following Flame, this is Fix the Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi lining up his 5th attempt at stage 1, 115 seconds, and Wi-Fi is a go. Scrambling up Shape Hill all the way to the top. Another competitor jumping straight into the visual barrier there. But Wi-Fi, the strategy works as he drops down up the bar crawl. 4th bar to the 5th, to the 6th, to the 7th, and the 8th. And now Wi-Fi starting to descend the coat hangers. All the way to the 5th one, going zigzag down them. Now here comes the wall. Big bounce for Wi-Fi. Lands on that 3rd peg, choosing to go to the left. Seldom seen, but it works out for Wi-Fi. Now here's an interesting conundrum. He's grabbed the needler in place of the pistol. And the needles, they do just about get the log rolling. They do the trick. Wi-Fi balancing on the top of the log. Big save. Hops for the dismount, and Wi-Fi makes the dismount. Lines up against the turbines, but he's going to crash into the side of the ring. He tried to jump on it too high up. and that's going to wipe him out. Now up next is Sane the Legend. 3 times a stage 1 clear, and the top newcomer actually from back in Tournament 3 is Sane. But he's quickly scrambling up Shape Hill, sliding down the backside, and now onto the bar crawl. Sane truly a competitor that does blow hot and cold. On some days he will be one of the best. On others he will look, pretty bang average. And this is not average looking Sane today. This is Sane making good progress fast. Now onto the wall, bouncing on the trampoline to get some height. Second peg, straight to the third, straight to the fourth, straight to the fifth. Choosing to go for a different 6th peg, but it doesn't matter. Sane, 75 seconds as he hops onto the rolling log. He's about matching Flame's pace, so he's got some time in the bank if he needs it. Sane goes for the big hop, gets saved actually by the turbine bar, nudging him back onto the dismount platform. But Sane zigzagging his way through the turbines, has to do a little wrap round the 4th one, but that's no sweat for him as he heads now onto the curtain slider very quickly through 4th ledge to the 5th. Saves it. He looks to go up. Sane going to drop back down. Big hop, and Sane 40 seconds left onto Crash Mountain. He takes one straight in the chest. Manages to get back to the safety platform, but Sane now hopping his way up, jumping off the balls, hurdling them. Starts to slow them down though. 30 seconds to go. Sane, another hurdle. And another. Uses that to hurdle a second. He's getting clipped. He's got rolled off. Sane the Legend down and out on Crash Mountain. And that is unfortunate. Up next we have Kyle Shambeg 2. This is his 7th appearance on the Elite Challenge, and Kyle onto Shape Hill. Up to the 2nd rung. Now the 3rd. Over the top. Slides straight down the back. Makes the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl. He hits his head on the first jump between the 1st and 2nd, and it knocks him off. And Kyle out early. Now up next we have Alpha Puma making another comeback to the Elite Challenge. His 115 seconds are underway, and Puma scrambling up Shape Hill. You can see he's enjoying being back, throwing in a 360 for the fans. And Puma, 3rd bar to the 4th, to the 5th, to the 6th, and the 7th, and up to the 8th, all the way to the top. Now down the curtain slider. Throws in another 360. He's spinning to win is Puma. Gets a low bounce, but he gets the distance onto the wall. He's going to have to scramble up that right-hand side. All the way up. One more jump for Puma. Now he can make it up. There he goes. Alpha Puma. Trying to speed boost himself with the pistol. Not sure it's going to work, but Puma now onto the rolling log. Makes his way down the track. First save, 2nd save. He goes for the dismount platform, but he overshoots by a mile, and Puma is out. Up next is Carson-Ioski. And Carson, the top newcomer of the previous tournament, finished very well, largely due to the fact that he managed to make it through the first obstacle. It took so many people out. And once again, Carson through the first obstacle, skips straight to the 2nd bar of the bar crawl. You can tell people mean business when they do things like that. But Carson, a little bit of a stop to gain his bearings, but he's back on the move now, all the way up to the top of the bar crawl, and down just as quickly through the curtain slider. Hits the trampoline, big bounce, lands up at that 4th peg on the wall, but he overshoots, slips down, manages to save it. He's right at the bottom though. But Carson with living a bit on the edge here. That's 2 very, very near misses. But he's up to the top nonetheless. Next up, the rolling log, which he's shot off ahead of him. Catches up with it. Makes the jump onto it. He's surfing it all the way down. 1 save, 2 to the dismount platform. Now into the turbines. 1st ring. 2nd. To the 3rd. To the 4th. Makes that little wrap around the final spinning bar, and Carson onto the curtain slider. 2 for 2 now against the turbines. Not many people are going to be able to say that come the end of the day. And Carson making his way along, has another save. Carson living very much on the edge, hops up high, stays up high all the way to the end. 25 seconds to go, and that is a flurry of balls coming at him. Choosing to wait spend the time to get the gap, and he's got a big gap. He's making huge progress, is Carson. More than halfway up in one go before he encounters the ball. He's got one as a blocker. The klaxon's sounding though. He's right there at the end. 5 seconds. 4, 3, and he hits the landmine. And Carson Ioski picks up his first clear and only his second attempt. 3.43 seconds. He cleared with the halo number, and that is now the 4th person through today. Way to go, Carson. We'll see you on stage 2. Now, this is starting to become a good few people, but then Sagatra would miss his very first jump. Marius wouldn't do too much better. WPX copy and paste. He made it up to the top of Shape Hill, slid down but couldn't quite reach the person that was there waiting for him on the other end. Samantha Juanita would come up short of the first jump and wasn't able to save it. KRX, he made it onto the first jump and then hopped around and slid back down between the middle of the two shapes on the first rung. Ruben Allig would make it all the way up to the top, slide down, and he would come up short on dismount. And then J-Rex would be another one falling foul of this first jump, making a game effort to save it though. Once, twice, thrice, 4 times in fact, and the 5th time led to him failing out. Up next we have Rocking Horse Panda for their debut on the Elite Challenge. 115 seconds on the clock, making up to the second rung of Shape Hill. Trying to figure out which is the optimal way to go for that final run. Comes up short. Comes up short again, does Rocking Horse Panda. Sees the left side looking better, gets up to the top. Slides down the back, but holds back on the bar and just overcorrects and fails out. Up next we have Gendog taken to the course with the turret. Very well supported there on the background. I counted at least 2 or 3 people on the start platform, 5 people over on the beach. So he's well watched as he slides down the Shape Hill, makes the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl, makes his way up. 3rd bar to the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, to the 7th, and the 8th. Gendog makes it up. He's a very big super fan of halo jumping, and he's starting to push his performances further and further into the stage. And now he's greeted with the trampoline for the wall. Big bounce by Gendog. 2nd big bounce. Makes it all the way up once again to the top, but he's going to slip down. Saves it on a lower ledge. Gendog recovering. Back up to the top. Has to take a save, but he makes it up now onto the rolling log. Hops on board, gets the log moving. First save jump, 2nd save jump, getting rolled very far forward, but he's overshot too, just like Puma. Looked like he went for the first ring of the turbines just in one jump to save a bit of time, but he came up short. Up next is Hyan Galactic. Galactic taking on the course for his 13th appearance. 115 seconds underway. Slides back down Shape Hill, makes the landing. Now into the bar crawl. Galactic, one of the more experienced competitors without a stage 1 clear. He's looking to change that today. And Galactic moving well through the first 3 obstacles, already defeats the coat hangers. Lines up the wall, chooses to bend the run to the left. Hops onto the ledge, starts to climb, 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. Galactic up in one big diagonal. Now on towards the rolling log, opens fire to get the log moving. Galactic hopping on board, but he's going to get left behind by the log. Saves it on the track. He's going to have to run back and reset the obstacle and have another attempt. Galactic hits the button. Back onto the log now, 2nd attempt, 50 seconds on the clock, so Galactic looking tight for time. Hanging onto the log though, makes it to the dismount platform, and now the turbines. Not really an obstacle you can rush, unless you want to take massive risks, but Galactic starts to move through all 4 rings, the camera getting nudged about once again, but Galactic making progress nonetheless. Makes the first big drop on the curtain slider, goes for distance, saves it, goes back up, Drops back down. Galactic really tight for time. He's going to have to absolutely send it for Crash Mountain, but he's made it there, but he's got knocked straight off. First bull rejects Galactic, and he'll have to wait another tournament for a shot at the second stage. Now up next is Alex Halo, another previous top newcomer, this time from the class of Tournament 9, and very quickly over the top of Shape Hill, down the other side, and Alex Halo now onto the bar crawl, skips up very quickly to the 5th bar, to the 6th, and the 7th, just about saves it, nearly overshoots as Alex Halo, doesn't want to come up short. Now making his way down the coat hangers, hopping from end to end. And just like Galactic, banking the run to the left to hop onto a familiar peg. He's done the wall a number of times now, clearly has a preferred route that goes from left to right in a diagonal. And Alex Halo up and over, and he's now taking on the rolling log. Hops on board, opens fire, the log starts to rumble along. Alex Halo save jump, save jump, save jump, and he makes it to the landing. Now he's lining up the turbine, first ring. Goes for the second, zigzagging back and forth, now to the third, and the fourth. And Alex Halo, another competitor, making mincemeat of the turbines this time around. Making pretty good progress on the curtain slider as well. Alex Halo makes the save. Just about makes the hop up to that upward ledge, makes the drop down, and Alex Halo, this is a couple of competitors back to back now making it to Crash Mountain, and Alex Halo nearly coming a cropper just like Galactic. Now he's found a blocker. Alex Halo, big hurdle there, and another. And another. Alex Halo making good progress. Could this be his first time clearing the first stage? No, it's not! He gets hip checked by a ball halfway up, and Alex Halo crashes out, so near but yet so far. Up next we have Labrat15. Recently made his return to Halo jumping, hasn't missed the Elite Challenge since. This is his 3rd appearance now. And Labrat, another competitor who it's hard to bet against coming into this tournament. Looking good in practice, putting the reps in, and surely going to be chasing some success before too long. Could it be today with the way he's moving? Definitely, possibly. Down the middle now onto the wall. First big jump, second. Completely kills the momentum though, and Labrat doesn't make the distance, comes up short on the wall. Now up next is Spenny37. He's gotten a stage 1 clear in the past, but historically not a huge fan of the wall. Let's see if he can tackle it with its new trampoline. Spenny slides down Shape Hill, now onto the bar crawl, nearly overshoots that first bar, manages to pull it back, and now starts to climb. Spenny very, very successful on other courses, so a mistake like that, taking him out early, would be a huge shot, and he's quickly down through the coat hangers. Now onto the trampoline himself, straight to the 2nd ledge of the wall. 3rd peg, 4th peg, 5th. Just about makes it to the 6th, but up and over nonetheless. Now onto the rolling log. This has taken him out before. And Spenny trying to go down sideways. Big jump, first save, goes for the dismount, and he also goes through the gap. Same as Puma, same as Gendog, and now it's claimed another. And up next now we have Mighty Max. He achieved 3 clears on the bounce a few tournaments ago, but hasn't looked the same since. But scrambling up Shape Hill, Mighty Max looking to get back to form. Now onto the bar crawl. 1st bar, 2nd bar, 3rd bar. He's zigzagging, another competitor zigzagging up to make the landings longer, so harder to overshoot. It's a very smart strategy indeed. Mighty Max already down the coat hangers. Big jump on the wall, almost all the way up in one like Kimchi, but has to land on that top peg. And now Mighty Max onto the rolling log. Looking in control on the front, Mighty Max, 1 save jump, 2 save jumps, 3, and he goes for the first ring of the turbines, and he comes up short as well. That gap proving very dangerous. 2 competitors in a row gone through it, 4 in total. And now here comes Rivalis. Another competitor making big waves in the Halo jumping community. Has put in a fair few very impressive runs indeed in other tournaments recently. Still chasing his first The Elite Challenge success, having fell foul of the time limit in a recent tournament. But Rivalis down the coat hangers. Now onto the wall, big hop from the trampoline, straight to the lowest peg. Second peg, third, Rivalis climbing his way up, all the way to the top with no problems whatsoever. Now runs towards the rolling log. Hops on board, opens fire, the log starts to make its way down the slope. Rivalis gets left behind and he can't save it. And Rivalis down and out, and the rolling log claims a 3rd competitor in a row. Let's hope Avow's the Samurai doesn't meet the same fate as we move into the second half of the competitors. But Avow sliding back down Shape Hill already. Makes it through the obstacle though nonetheless, manages to regroup and now attacking the bar crawl. 4th bar, 5th bar, 6th bar, 7th, 8th, and now into the coat hangers. Straight from the 1st to the 3rd to the 5th, Avow's all the way to the bottom. Now onto the wall, big hop on the trampoline, goes for a 2nd bounce, goes really high, going for a 3rd, and he also makes it up. Had to build up some momentum, but up in one go. Very impressive from Avow's the Samurai. Now the rolling log, save jump, and he also goes flying for that 2nd jump to the landing platform, and Avow's goes straight through the gap. Now up next is Drago is back for his 6th appearance on the Elite Challenge. An absolute legend of the genre, but still chasing his first success on this course. But Drago beats Shape Hill. Now onto the bar crawl. Zigzagging up through the 4th one, the 5th bar, the 6th, the 7th, all the way to the top, and now down across the coat hangers. 2, 4, 6. And then to the landing, and Drago with another huge bounce straight to the straight to the last peg, choosing to go one laterally to make it up to the top. Now onto the rolling log. It's claimed 4 in a row. Will Drago be 5 or will he put it to bed? And Drago makes the landing safe and sound. Now into the turbines. 1st ring, 2nd ring. Goes for the 3rd, makes it. To the 4th, and now the dismount. Drago makes it through there smoother than the camera did. And quickly to the 4th ledge of the curtain slider. Big hop to the 5th, goes up high. Drops down, looked like a bit of indecision, but Drago makes it through, and still 40 plus seconds to go, and just Crash Mountain to beat. We know this is a tough obstacle though, but can Drago do it at last? He's getting punched around, but he's found a gap. Drago hurdling, he's shooting the balls up in the rack to try and mess up their timing. They're nudging him back inch by inch, but Drago not giving them ground. Choosing to stay planted. It's not a fast technique, but it is safe. Drago, big jump, and clears the stage with 12.33 seconds to go. And Drago is back onto stage 2 for the first time in his The Elite Challenge career. And so far now with the fastest time of the day. Way to go, Drago. Let's see how the rest of the competitors are going to get on. Well, up next from one of the longest tenured competitors to one of the newest, this is Faded to No End with his first run on the Elite Challenge, sliding down the back of Shape Hill, and he makes light work of it. And looking to line up the bar crawl, but he goes straight through between the first bars, and Faded to No End down and out already. Now here's an interesting competitor. This is Taylor H. Miles, returning from back in Tournament 11, where he would secure the top newcomer spot, and Taylor H. Miles moving very quickly indeed through Shape Hill, scrambling up the bar crawl very quickly, 7th bar, 8th bar, all the way up to the top, now down the coat hangers, 1st to the 4th, to the 6th, all the way down to the bottom. Now onto the wall. 1 jump on the trampoline, 2 jumps straight to the pegs. Hugging that left hand side, Taylor H. Miles up the top, and he's still got over 80 seconds left on the clock. Now onto the rolling log. Sets the log off, looking smooth on the front. First save, goes for the big dismount, but he comes up short. Clips the end of the platform, and Taylor H. Miles down and out. Up next is another returning competitor, this time from the Halo racing community. This is Goombob, the league organizer for the Halo Vehicle Racing Association. It's a very fun racing community, and Goombob now turning his talents from racing to obstacles, and he beats the first one of the tournament, beats Shape Hill, and he goes straight through the gap between the first 2 bars, and Goombob down and out. Up next is one of the DRL hosts. This is Squeezoo. His 11th appearance on the course, 115 seconds begin, and Squeezoo quickly up the Shape Hill. Can he make the descent? Goes all the way to the right hand side. Clearly has a plan and he executes it to perfection. Beats the Shape Hill, now onto the bar crawl. Not looking the smoothest of anyone so far, but Squeezoo making progress. Starts to zigzag. And he overshoots the final bar. Squeezoo down and out. And that is unfortunate. Up next is another returning racer. This is Rotary Power 95. Rotary last competed a couple of tournaments ago. Didn't get super far, and doesn't get super far today. He's out on the Shape Hill dismount. Next up is Spider Case, wearing a very similar armor set to Junsato Cyan. Will he get a similar result? Spider Case, 115 seconds. Another of the DRL hosts. And Spider quickly puts Shape Hill to bed. Now up the bar crawl. 3rd ledge to the 4th. And the 5th. A little bit all over the place is Spider, but he gets it back together. Now on the descent, down the coat hangers. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Spider all the way to the bottom. Now here comes the wall. First bounce, 2nd. Trying to build up a bit of momentum is Spider, getting a bit of height. Goes for the big send, lands on that 4th peg up, goes to the 5th. And he undershoots the 6th, but he manages to claw it back on a lower peg. Spider with a great recovery. 2nd time of asking, makes it all the way up. Has a minute left on the clock as he heads on to the rolling log. And Spider giving the log a bit of a nudge, a bit of encouragement to get moving. Hanging off the front, 1 save. 2nd, straight to the safety platform. Just about squeaks it behind the first bar of the turbines. And Spider quickly scrambling through the turbines once again. Another competitor making seeming light work of it. Now on to the curtain slider, making his way very quickly through. Spider makes it up high. He's going to drop down low. Spider, and he undershoots the final ledge of the curtain slider. That was a great run going from Spider there. Now can Brendan do any better? The HT Draft host. He's now taking on the course for his, I believe, 7th appearance. Brendan does a lot of community work for the Halo Tracks server. There's a lot of outreach for Halo Racing in general. Can he transfer that goodwill into a good performance here today? Brendan scrambling up sideways up to the top of the bar crawl. Now making his way down the coat hangers. Touch and go on every single one. Down to the 6th. Makes the landing. Now onto the wall. Goes straight down the middle. Huge bounce from Brendan. Up to the 5th peg. Jumps for the 6th. And up to the top. And now here comes Brendan versus the rolling log. Gets the log on its way. Brendan safe jumping already. Gotta make sure the log doesn't leave him behind. Gets a very late jump there. Looked like a phantom bounce, but he got it nonetheless. And now Brendan is sailing through the turbines. And another competitor onto the curtain slider. Brendan going very well today. Could this be his first clear on the Elite Challenge? Lines up another jump. Brendan saves it. Goes up high. Drops back down. Thought he was going high again there for a moment. Brendan. Final ledge. Oh, but he can't get his footing, and Brendan slips off just at the end of the obstacle. That's heartbreaking for Brendan. But here comes another racer. This is Da Chosen for the Elite Challenge debut. One of my teammates in the HTJ series for Team Hahamya, where he performed exceptionally well at picking up the points. But Chosen starting to pick his way through the bar crawl. 7th bar, 8. Makes it to the coat hangers. Touch and go on the way down. Skips the 3rd one. Skips the 5th one. Chosen down to safety. Sprints at the wall. Big bounce from Chosen. Makes it all the way up in one go. Has to just take 1 or 2 additional jumps. And now onto the rolling log. With a lot of time to spare. Chosen 70 seconds as the log makes its way off. He's slowing it down. He's riding the log backwards, shooting into it to try and keep it under control. That's certainly a novel strategy, but it works for him. And Chosen now into the turbines. 2nd ring. Trying to line up the timing. Chosen. Waiting for the bars to pass once again. It's been a fast run so far, so he's got a bit of time to play with. Chosen 1 ring more, and he's going to beat the turbines. Makes it out the other side. The camera has to play a bit of catch up, but Chosen now onto the curtain slider. 3rd ledge. Big jump to the 4th. Chosen saves it. Trying to line things up. Big sprint to the 5th ledge. Makes the landing. Pops up. Ooh, looks like a bit of an indecision there, and it's cost Chosen. And he's down on the curtain slider. Next up is another newcomer from the Halo Racing world. This is Barry Barrows. Recently finished the mammoth project that is building the Nordschleife on Halo Reach. So go and check that out if you're an MCC Reach player. But this time Barry, he's now got a mammoth task on his hand with taking a stage of the Elite Challenge on debut. Doesn't happen often. Barry hopping up the bar crawl, makes it to the top, starts his way down the coat hangers, again starts to skip them all the way to the bottom, now sprints into the wall. Big bounce from Barry. He's going to have to make a hop up to the top. 2nd time's the charm, gets it up and over, sends the rolling log on its way, catches up to it. Barry save jumps once, twice, thrice, and the 4th takes him to safety, and now into the turbines, but he's going to overshoot the 1st ring, and Barry Barrows down and out the way so many people went last tournament. And now another in the Halo Racing community making their debut. This is Regret, one of the best Halo Reach and Halo 4 map makers. Anyone remember God's Regret from back in the day? This is the guy. Now he's on to the 2nd bar on the bar crawl, to the 3rd, the 4th looking a little unsteady, but up to the 5th, now the 6th, Regret, 7th bar, 8th, he's all the way up to the top, now onto the coat hangers. 1st hanger, and he's going to undershoot the 2nd, and Regret gets wet. Now a competitor with a bit more experience, this is Opixonic, 6th crack at the Elite Challenge. And he's on a number of occasions got very deep into the 1st stage, so can he break through today? Opix slides down Shape Hill, makes the dismount. 1st bar of the bar crawl, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and Opix making solid progress. Straight to the 3rd, straight to the 5th, and straight down the curtain slider. Big bounce onto the wall, and he's going to slip off the side of the peg. Opix down and out. And Now it's somebody who has been through to the second stage. From the Halo Racing world, this is Nike 2000, looking to get back once again after making it through a couple of tournaments ago. Nike slides down Shape Hill, makes the dismount, now into the bar crawl. First bar, makes it up to the second, now the third to the fourth to the fifth. Nike making good progress, beat this obstacle before. Now he's onto the coat hangers, going one by one on the way down towards safety. Nike to the sixth and final one. Now onto the trampoline, and he gets a poor bounce. Nike doesn't get the distance, and his run is over at the wall as well. Now it's another competitor who's been to stage 2 before, but this time from the Halo jumping world. This is TX Hot T, formerly known as Drew TV. Changed his name on the start line a few tournaments back and instantly responded by getting his first clear. Can today be the second? TX Hot T making his way through the bar crawl to the 7th bar, to the 8th. Skips the first of the coat hangers, straight second, fourth, 6th, and all the way to the bottom. Now hesitates. Onto the trampoline, 1 bounce, 2 bounce. TX Hot T trying to build up some height. Makes the distance for the second peg, up to the third. Climbing his way up the wall. 1 more peg to go, and TX Hot T up and over the top. Now to the rolling log. Hops on, switches to the pistol. Good move, I would say. Physics objects don't like being punched around in Halo Infinite, and TX Hot T makes his way down the rolling log and into the turbine. First ring, second, easy as that. Third to the fourth. And the dismount, TX Hot T. 45 seconds to go as he hits the curtain slider. Not the fastest run, but he is certainly getting through it. Hops up. Jumps back down. TX Hot T gets to Crash Mountain with above 30 seconds, and he's going to hide on the extreme side of the rail. Very risky. If one ball touches him from there, it's pretty much unrecoverable, but if he gets lucky with the drops, he can make it, and he's inching his way up. TX Hot T. Sometimes brute force isn't as good as a bit of thought process. 8.61 seconds, and TX Hot T for his second time back to the second stage of the Elite Challenge. And I believe that's Tricky Cyrus hopping in to celebrate. He'll be running soon, but for now, it's TX Hot T's moment as he gets through to the second stage once again. That makes it 6 people through. That's run 66, and it's Fluffy B. He's been through 3 times in the past, but he has a real one-sided rivalry going with the curtain slider. So that is the big hurdle for Fluffy. Makes it quickly through Shape Hill, climbing up the bar crawl to the 6th bar. And he's overshot the 7th! And that is a very early exit from Fluffy B indeed. Next up, number 967. This is Tunvi 101. He made it through in Tournament 13, was cruelly denied by Crash Mountain in the last tournament. He's going to corner wrap the barricade. This is the Tunvi we remember from Tournament 13, finding these unexplored techniques that people wouldn't really go for, but work out well. Zigzagging up the bar crawl, now down the coat hangers. Second coat hanger straight to the 5th one. Down in 2 strides, Tunvi. Big hop on the wall, nearly makes it all the way to the top, but scrambles up the final few ledges. Tunvi sends the rolling log off ahead of him. Hops on board. Gets left behind though, saves it on the track. Very fast run up until this point. He's going to lose some time resetting, but he came off quite early. That may benefit him. And Tunvi now down at the second time of asking, hopping along the top, makes the dismount. Now onto the turbines. You can see he wasn't there for Truls Olsen's run, or else you'd bet Tunvi would be scrambling along the top of the obstacle. Either way though, makes it through. Now onto the curtain slider, second ledge to the 3rd for the Summit of Spartans host. Makes the drop down. big sprint for Tunvi. Save jumps. Lines up, going up high. Drops down, Tunvi. Save. Final ledge. Clips across, 25 seconds. All that's standing in his way is Crash Mountain once again. He's opening fire, trying to slow the balls down. He's hurdling them well, but they're clipping him every now and again. Tunvi makes it to the drop and gets a huge setback. Tunvi gets bonked on the head, gets almost all of his progress reset, and now he's really struggling in the waterfall. Tun, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, you've got to move. 1 second, and Tunvi doesn't make it. He times out on the finish platform a few tenths of a second from getting the landmine. And that is going to be one of the closest timeouts we've ever seen on the Elite Challenge. Hard luck for Tunvi. But now up next is Caden Wyatt. He also is part of the group that have 3 clears on the Elite Challenge. Caden looking to make it 4, scrambling up Shaped Hill, sliding down the other side, and now onto the bar crawl. Caden making his way up quickly. 6th bar, 7th to the 8th, over the top, big jump back down from Caden. Another competitor going 2-5 and down to the bottom. And just like a few competitors earlier, Caden hooking the run to the left, choosing to stick to the left hand side. He's done that repeatedly for the past few tournaments, clearly feeling comfortable. Now hops on to the rolling log and sends it on its way. Caden Wyatt on the drop down, makes it to safety. Next up is the turbines. Caden, first ring, lines up the second, lands it. Eyeing up that third ring, makes that as well. Caden taking his time, doesn't want to rush it, makes the dismount. Now onto the curtain slider. Third ledge to the 4th. Caden with the save. Big sprint to the 5th, completely skips the up ledge, keeps the momentum going, and as a result has over 30 seconds left for Crash Mountain. Caden Wyatt, the final slope just standing between him and another stage 2, but Caden's being pushed back. The Bulls are trying to snowman up. Caden gets hit once again, getting rolled back and rolled back. Caden, big hit, and that's going to be the end. Knocks him off the side. Caden Wyatt can't recover, and once again he's down on Crash Mountain. Now we have Crowned Ferret 19, more commonly known as Irish, the host of Irish Warrior. And he, in the last 5 tournaments, has cleared 3 times. So Irish really trying to hit a block of form on the Elite Challenge, going for his 4th clear today. And the bar crawl currently standing in his way. Irish tucked right up against the bordering, makes it all the way up to the tippity top. Now starts to drop down. 3rd to the 5th, all the way to the bottom. Irish now onto the wall. Big hop off the trampoline. Only gets to the 3rd peg. Now up to the 4th. The 5th. Big hop to the 6th. Irish up to the top. Already making amends for his early exit in the last tournament. Went out on the waveform, which was the 2nd obstacle last time around. Irish down to the bottom of the rolling log, beats it. But even though he went out on the 2nd obstacle, the 1st obstacle, the turbines did so much damage, the Irish still got a top half placement, and he's going to beat the turbines once again today. Now onto the curtain slider. 3rd ledge to the 4th, straight to the 5th. Irish saves. Eyes up, going up high, just about makes it. It was a bit sketchy on the distance there, but Irish making progress, still north of 25 seconds. He's choosing to play the waiting game. Irish, and he gets rewarded with a big chunk of clear air. Irish making a huge amount of progress. Now goes into battle with the Bulls. And big hits from Irish. They're getting out of his way if they want to or not. Gets around the side, big jump, and Irish, Crowned Ferret 19, with 7.08 seconds remaining, goes back to stage 2 for his 4th time on the Elite Challenge. That's his 4th time in 6 tournaments. Way to go, Irish. And that makes it 7 through on the day. So we're already ahead of 1 in 10. Let's see if that number can keep going. And the next person to try his luck is Snoz. And he and Irish have had very close results in the last few tournaments, so this bodes well for Snoz. Scrambling up Shape Hill over the top. Slides down the backside, big jump to the dismount. Now onto the bar crawl. The man who really popularized the angles method of obstacles like this. Using the angles to extend the landings, and Snoz up to the top of the bar crawl. Now down the coat hangers. Second to the fourth, to the sixth, and down to the bottom. Snoz, big bounce up to that fourth peg, fifth peg, sixth, up to the top of the wall. And Snoz now onto the rolling log. Shoots it off on its merry way. Snoz hanging on top, goes for the save jump, and goes for the dismount. Nearly makes it into the turbines off of one bounce, but Snoz, just like several others, goes straight down the gap. Now up next is HaloFan17. Yet another person currently on 3 stage 1 clears and looking to make it 4. HaloFan scrambling up Shape Hill, sliding down the back. Makes the dismount. Starts to climb. HaloFan very quickly up the bar crawl. 7th bar, 8th bar. Real touch and go stuff from HaloFan. Now he's on his way down. Big skip there from the 4th coat hanger all the way to the bottom. And a huge bounce on the trampoline from HaloFan. Second one's a lot lower, but he makes it to a ledge. And skipping up sideways, HaloFan really turning the speed up. And now opening fire on the log. Crouching off the front. First save, second save, third save. Rolls onto safety, and now HaloFan versus the turbines. Just about makes the distance into that first ring, but picks up the pace once again. HaloFan gets through between the pincer movements of the bars, and now straight onto the curtain slider. Already onto the 4th ledge. HaloFan 50 seconds still on the clock. Doing a great run so far. Hopping up and across. HaloFan final ledge, makes it to safety. And now it's Crash Mountain, choosing to let those 2 balls go, and HaloFan now hurdles the first one but gets nailed by the second. And likewise again, HaloFan, he's getting knocked back, but he's crucially staying on the ramp so he can keep making progress. Up, still coming to a stop. HaloFan, they're not stopping him, they're slowing him down, but they're not stopping him. Into the waterfall, HaloFan gets pushed back again. And again, HaloFan, come on, time's running out, and a huge save as he corner wraps the balls. Makes the landing, 3.62 seconds left on the clock for HaloFan. And he makes it through for his 4th time. But that corner wrap was a thing of beauty to get there in the time. There's Super Ninja Jake coming to celebrate with him. Jake still to go in the run order, but HaloFan secures his spot in the 2nd stage. And another person looking for that same achievement, Gaming Brando, underway for his 115 seconds. Another person chasing a 4th stage 1 clear, would love to get it here today. Brando over Shape Hill, now climbing up the bar crawl, 5th bar, 6th bar, 7th bar, 8th, all the way up to the top and back down the other side for Gaming Brando. Now the wall, big bounce for Brando, just about makes the distance to the bottom peg. He's got some climbing to do, but Gaming Brando all the way up to the top. But now onto the rolling log, hops on board, opens fire, and Brando hanging right on the front. Brando save jump once, twice, and he goes straight for the dismount into the turbines, gets hit by the propeller bar, and Brando's run ends there. Up next we have K-Fly. He's cleared before and looking to do it again. Now on to Shape Hill. It's 115 seconds for K-Fly. And he's making his way through, beat the first obstacle. Starting to climb on the bar crawl, makes it past the halfway point. K-Fly all the way up to the top. Now heading down the other side on the coat hangers. Taking a jump on everyone, not skipping any. K-Fly now into the wall, big jump, thinks better of it, manages to pull it back in time, wants to have another grow. K-Fly, even bigger bounce the second time of asking, makes it all the way up in one go. Huge bounce there from K-Fly, sends the rolling log off ahead, nearly gets left behind and does! K-Fly off the back of the rolling log, that is unfortunate, and his run's gonna end there. Up next we have Tricky Cyrus. Cyrus has had a stage 1 clear before. Was very happy to tell people he's the first British Halo jumping grand champion, but he's looked a bit underwhelming on the Elite Challenge so far, it must be said. Looking to change his fortunes today though. And Cyrus very quickly beats the first 2 obstacles, very quickly beats the first 3 obstacles. Low hop on the trampoline, second bounce is the charm. Makes it onto the wall, scrambling up to the final peg. One more jump to go, starting to have a bit of trouble is Cyrus. But he makes it up and over, shoots the log off in front of him. Making his way on the descent, Cyrus save jumps, goes for the landing. Just about manages to clip the edge of the platform and get it back under control, but Cyrus now into the turbines. Back and forth through the obstacle, makes the dismount, hops round the corner, and now onto the curtain slider. Cyrus, 4th ledge. Goes for the big sprint, lands it, saves it. Now going up. And up again, Cyrus to the top path, makes the landing, there he goes. 35 seconds to go and Crash Mountain standing in his way. Cyrus round the first ball with ease, hurdles the next 3, scares one completely away. Cyrus goes up, not out, and he's got the balls to a standstill. He's right at the top, 20 seconds just under. Cyrus sprinting through him, 14 seconds, hits the buzzer, 13.09 seconds for the Tricky Sasuke host, and in his first tournament as a host on the Elite Challenge, he makes it through the first stage for only the 2nd time in his career. Way to go, Cyrus. That's 9 people through, 26 to go though, including some of the best of the best. But first up we had Lizard, who came up short on the first jump. Sky Collins likewise left the jump way too late. Monkuchen did a bit better but couldn't save it. AO did not go very far. Up next was Arnold, and he would also slip off on the first jump. He'd save it a couple of times on the lip at the bottom before finally getting the inevitable dunk. OK Lightning 9 made it through Shape Hill, and then was making progress on the bar crawl, made it up through to the 4th bar before overshooting on the way out. Legendary KS would also beat Shape Hill, and then line up a jump straight through the bars of the bar crawl, and Masena Pal would leave the jump way too late. And that brings us onto competitor 983. This is Hunter Unit 751. The Ninja Warrior of Halo host, 6 times a stage 1 clear. Never managed to do it in back-to-back tournaments though, and what is good for Hunter, he failed stage 1 in the last tournament. So if he keeps his record up, he's looking good for another trip to the 2nd stage. But 8 obstacles between him and there, and he's already dispatched 3 of them. Hunter now onto the wall. Hops on the trampoline, makes his way over to the 3rd peg, the 4th, the 5th, up to the 6th and up to the top. Hunter now charging towards the rolling log. He's had plenty of experience with this obstacle in the past. And Hunter save jumps once, save jumps twice, makes it to the landing with a little help from the log there. Clearly the log's on his side this time around. Hunter quickly through to the 3rd ring of the turbines, now the 4th. Makes the landing into the curtain slider, 1st ledge, 2nd to the 3rd. Drops down to the 4th. Hunter is moving well today. Big sprint, gets the save, goes for the big sprint skip, keeps the momentum going, and Hunter lands it. Choosing to wait for a gap in the traffic. Doing a bit of the TX Hot T-Strat hanging on the edge, but he's shooting the balls in the rack as well. That may bring them towards him as it turns out, and Hunter trying to weasel his way through before turning to brute force. Hunter up and over, gets under the waterfall, nice header there. Pretty apt for the World Cup, and he's going to clear 19.44 seconds, and Hunter Unit 751 with the fastest time of the day so far takes us to double digits on the clear tally. Way to go, Hunter. See you in stage 2. And now can another Brit join him? This is Super Ninja Jake 2. 4 times a finisher of the first stage in previous tournaments. Can he make it 5 today? His 115 seconds are underway and he's already scrambled through Shape Hill. Jake now onto the bar crawl. 4th bar to the 5th, to the 6th, to the 7th, and the 8th. Super Ninja Jake is flying so far. Skips a few of the coat hangers on the way down. Lines up his jump for the wall. Gets the trampoline. 2nd bounce is the charm. Jake to the 2nd peg, to the 3rd, 4th, to the 5th. Ooh, bit of a miscalculation from Jake there as he slips off, and another one, and this time he can't recover. Super Ninja Jake is out. Next up we have Ryan 24107, the big surprise of the last tournament, getting his first clear on the board of the Elite Challenge. Going for a 2nd one today. Ryan quickly up and over Shape Hill, but he doesn't get a jump off the dismount. And Ryan from the lofty heights of stage 2 out already. Here comes now D Mills NY. He's been to stage 2 before, looking to repeat it again. He will of course be boosted by the performance of his beloved New York Knicks. And D Mills looking to get his place in the 2nd stage once again. Quickly through Shape Hill, quickly up to the top of the bar crawl. Little pause at the top there for D Mills, but now starts his way on the descent. Makes it to the landing. D Mills down the center, hits the trampoline, flies through the air, lands on the wall, quickly scrambling up and over the top. D Mills making good progress. The Halo Racer knows how to go fast. A race winner in the HTSX next series, and he makes his way down the rolling log straight into the turbines. 3rd ring to the 4th ring. D Mills, and he's come a cropper at the end. He tried to sprint for the dismount and fell in the gap that's there. That is a big shame. D Mills is out. Up next we have Sunnyside Splash, 2nd appearance on the Elite Challenge, and Sunny's 1st time around. He got a clear back in tournament 12, was the top newcomer in that tournament, came 5th place in the overall results in that tournament, so he's got a big first impression to live up to Sunny. Quickly up the bar crawl, now down the coat hangers to the 5th and to the bottom. Now Sunny onto the wall, big bounce from the trampoline, gets it to the bottom peg, quickly to the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Sunny up and over. Another competitor getting to the log with above 75 seconds, so Sunny moving well. Log on its way down the slope, but Sunny's going to roll off the front, and Sunnyside Splash splashes out. Up next we have Eternal Flame 395. Eternal 6 times he's gotten to the end of the first stage, looking for a 7th. One of the most successful competitors in the Elite Challenge's stage 1. And Eternal looking for yet another crack at the 2nd stage. Quickly through Shape Hill, quickly up the bar crawl, now onto the coat hangers. 2nd hanger, 4th, 6th, and Eternal all the way to the bottom. Huge bounce up the trampoline, goes straight to the 4th peg of the wall. Eternal trying the old shortcut off, but the wall is slightly taller this time around. Makes it the 2nd time of asking though, has to go the long or the normal way. And now Eternal jumping, skipping along the top of the rolling log, makes it to the end. The log falls off the track but leaves Eternal on the platform. Now Eternal Flame into the turbines, the camera getting all sorts of beaten up by the spinning bars, but Eternal Flame makes light work of the obstacle. Now onto the curtain slider, 3rd ledge already to the 4th. Big pace from Eternal Flame, going up high, dropping back down. Eternal Still over 40 seconds. That's a landslide on its way towards Eternal. Pushes back onto the safety platform. But Eternal has the time to go again. Once again ends up back on the start platform. Third time's the charm. Eternal taking big hits. Moving a long way back. Starting to punch the balls. Making progress now though. And now into a bit of space. Eternal Flame. The balls are tripping over each other in the hangar. And Eternal making the progress. Punching the balls out the way. Clearing a path. Big jump. Klaxon sounds, but just about. Eternal Flame 395. 9.63 seconds left on the clock, and Eternal becomes the 11th person on to the second stage today. 13 people more still to go. No, 12 people more still to go. My maths is bad. But up next is Disappoint. 3 times stage 1 clear. And 2 of them have come in the previous 2 tournaments, so Disappoint looking to join a very elite club of getting 3 stage 1 clears in a row. Shape Hill dealt with ease. Now Disappoint onto the bar crawl. 100 seconds just ticking by. Up to the 7th bar, the 8th. And now lining up the drop onto the coat hanger. 2nd to the 4th and to the 6th. Disappoint. Down the other side, big hop off the trampoline, flies through the air, clips the ledge of the wall, managed to save it on a lower peg, but Disappoint climbs back up to the top. Now running towards the rolling log, hops on board, opens fire, does Disappoint, the log starts to move, Disappoint starts to hop, and jump, skip along the top of the rolling log, makes it down now onto the turbines. Didn't get beaten by this last time, won't want to go down to it this time around, and sure enough Disappoint beats the obstacle. Now onto the curtain slider, first ledge, saves, 2nd, 3rd, big drop down, big send, Disappoint picking the pace up, just about manages to get a save on that penultimate ledge. Hops to the last one, Disappoint, bit of a scare there, but 35 seconds. And just Crash Mountain left to beat. Disappoint, gets a number of balls just flee from him. Gets the stop, hops up and over. Disappoint, pushing them forward. Here comes the waterfall, he's right underneath it. Disappoint, he's just got a few inches to go. Balls are trying to block him, but they're not going to be enough. Disappoint gets through, and for the 3rd time in a row, gets the end of stage 1. 14.65 seconds left on the clock today for Disappoint. That's the 2nd fastest time of the day thus far, and brings us to 12 people through to the second stage. And still more of the absolute top competitors left to come, including the Halo Ninja Warrior host, Smokey Massacre. 5 times already in his The Elite Challenge career, he's made it to the end of the first stage. Looking for a 6th one today, Smokey quickly up Shape Hill and back down the other side. Now onto the bar crawl. Should be not a huge problem for Smokey. Quickly up to the top. And Smokey now dropping down on the coat hangers. Zigzagging 3 to 5 now onto the wall. Hops onto the trampoline. 2nd bounce, goes for the peg. Gets to the 2nd peg. Scrambling up the right hand side and up and over the top for Smokey. Up next is the rolling log. This has taken him out before, so Smokey won't want to go the same way again. Keeping it under control. There's the save jump. There's the dismount. Lands smoothly on the platform and now into the turbines. Smokey coming into this tournament. He's on a 3 tournament stage 1 clear streak. Looking to make it 4. And he's very quickly through the curtain slider. Through to the 4th ledge, the 5th. Gonna hop up high. Smokey stays very high all the way up to the tippity top. Big drop down now onto Crash Mountain, and Smokey with the old reliable plasma pistol, full charge, does a good job at stopping the ball. Smokey hopping up and over the top. Another person using a bit of intelligence to battle what's otherwise being dealt with as a force-based obstacle. Smokey quickly through, hits the buzzer, 26.89 seconds. Displaces Hunter for the fastest time of the day and brings us to 13 stage 1 clears thus far. And that will also bring us to a returning first place finisher. This This is Soul Reaper 1025 coming into us from number 991. Debuted in Tournament 1, this is his 10th appearance. Has on 2 occasions got to 2.8. Both times Tournament 4 and 5 was the French twist. He's 3 times a Stage 1 clearer, including in his last appearance. And he's the first place finisher, as you can see, from back in Tournament 4. And Soul now looking to get another one on the board. But his 115 seconds are about to get underway. Soul Reaper, 8 obstacles between him and the end of the stage. Soul up Shape Hill. Possibly the biggest surprise of a first place finisher in the Elite Challenge so far, but Soul definitely has earned his stripes. And he followed his first place up with an equal result in the next tournament, finishing in 3rd place back in Tournament 5. So he's a frequent high placing finisher is Soul. And he's scrambled up the wall very quickly indeed, still over 80 seconds left as he gets to the rolling log. I'm singing this guy's praises and he's just destroying obstacles out there. Very late saves off the front of the log, but it doesn't phase him. Straight into the turbines. Bit of a zigzag pattern on the go here from Soul. And a bit of a wrap round, just about makes it back onto the safety platform, but over a minute left as he hits the curtain slider. Soul absolutely flying once again. Makes the big hop to that 5th ledge, goes up high. Drops back down. Soul saves. And 45 seconds left, and he's straight onto Crash Mountain. Cuts the corner. Hugging the right hand side, gets faked out by the balls. Gets hit once, gets hit twice and thrice. Saves it, another hurdle. Soul crouching under the waterfall, big jump. And he's going to hit the buzzer, and Soul goes even faster. New fastest time of the day, 28.6 seconds, and Soul Reaper 1025 becomes the 14th person through. His personal 5th time through Stage 1. Way to go, Soul. And we still have some more of the top competitors, including another first place finisher returning. This is Vulcan. Took his first place in Tournament 6, and then would follow that up in Tournament 7 by getting a personal best. Getting deep into the 3rd stage, going out on the cliffhanger. Unfortunately, in that tournament, Weapon managed to beat him out, so Vulcan still on the podium there. Debuted in Tournament 1, his 10th appearance overall. One of the most successful competitors on the first stage. And Vulcan lines it up. And off he goes, scrambling up Shape Hill over the top, slides down the back. Now into the bar crawl. 2nd bar, 3rd bar, 4th bar, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now down the coat hangers, sticking to the left hand side. Sprints into the trampoline, flies through the air. Vulcan lands on the bottom peg of the wall. Starting to climb up that right hand side. Vulcan, final peg, gets up and over. Now onto the rolling log. Vulcan opens fire. Sends the log on its merry way. Save jumps. Log hits a bit of a bump there, but Vulcan makes it to the landing. Now onto the turbines. Waits for them to pass. Vulcan looked like he was taking his time on the turbines, but the clock doesn't agree. Just ticked under a minute. And he's now going through the curtain slider. Makes the jump up. Hops back down. Final ledge. Vulcan's over 45 seconds, so he's even quicker again. But this time, Vulcan not dealt a great hand with Crash Mountain, but he's got a huge gap now. Vulcan making progress. Sticking to the side of the track, going back central when the balls are in danger. Vulcan, he's got a blocker. Hops up and over, hurdles 5 in one go. Vulcan gets under the waterfall, and he's going to make it once again. 19.82 seconds, and Vulcan becomes our 15th clear of the tournament. And that is another clear under Vulcan's belt. That's his 8th time getting to the finish line. He's getting some support there from D-Mills on the side. Next up, the 3rd returning first place finisher. This is ump double ump. Debuted right back at the beginning in Tournament 1 with 3 Stage 1 clears on the bounce. Would clear later in Tournament 11. First place finisher from Tournament 2. Would actually be the first person to get a first place finish running last, as he came runner up, or he came on the podium in all 3 of the first tournaments. And now ump looking to get back to the former glory. 115 seconds and 8 obstacles between him and yet another trip to a second stage. Slides down the bar crawl, ump double ump. So he slides down onto the bar crawl, making his way up the bars. 6th bar to the 7th, to the 8th, and onto the coat hangers, dropping down 2nd, 4th, 6th. Big bounce, flying through the air on the wall, all the way up to the final peg in one big bound. Ump double ump, 81 seconds as he hits the rolling log. Sends the log on its way. Ump double ump, hanging off the front. First save, second, gets rolled forward, and ump overshoots the landing platform. That's another one out. And now we have another first place finisher, this time from all the way back in Tournament 1. This is iSpiteful making his long-awaited return to the Elite Challenge. Back in Tournament 1, he went out on the very end of Stage 2 on the vehicle ramps. That being his only performance to date. Can he match or do better this time around on the return? The Twitch streamer looking to return to the original glory of the Elite Challenge. Tournament 1 first place, where it all began. This is the mark everyone's been chasing since. And iSpiteful on the course. 115 seconds, and he's scrambling up Shape Hill. Slides down the back. iSpiteful makes the landing. Now onto the bar crawl. 2nd bar to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, all the way up to the top. Now down the coat hangers, skipping them on the way down to the bottom. Now sailing onto the trampoline, flying through the air. Lands it. Going up that left-hand side is Spiteful, all the way to the top. And arriving at the rolling log, Spiteful didn't have to contend with this back in Tournament 1, but he's got the log moving. And he's hanging on the top, slips towards the front. First jump, second, gets to the dismount. And now iSpiteful versus the turbines. He's into the first ring, lines the second up. Big jump, makes it. Now to the 3rd. And the 4th, iSpiteful does a better job than the camera operator once again, but Spiteful now quickly up to the 3rd ledge of the curtain slider, drops down to the 4th, saves it again, goes for the big jump, makes it, saves it. Spiteful goes for the skip, saves it again. Now going for that final ledge, makes it. iSpiteful. Now he's on to Crash Mountain. He actually beat this, the original version, way back in Tournament 1. And it's been looking for a rematch ever since, but iSpiteful hurdling the balls, 15 seconds to go. Spiteful, no, he gets tapped off! Just like Saying the Legend, and iSpiteful down and out. And next up, another returning first place finisher. This time it's Captain J09. A late starter to the Elite Challenge, debuting in Tournament 8 with a solid run, getting deep into Stage 2. Would then follow it up in Tournament 9 by getting to the cliffhanger and taking first place in that tournament. And we've been waiting to have him back ever since. And Captain J making his return today. How will he fare against the new breed of obstacles? His 115 seconds will begin. Armed with a water pistol and a flaming helmet, Captain J means business, hasn't failed Stage 1 before. Looking to keep that record up, and very quickly up Shape Hill, sliding down the other side. Big jump on the dismount. Now up onto the bar crawl, quickly up. 5th bar, 6th bar, 7th bar, 8th bar. Captain J, 100 seconds still to go as he gets to the coat hangers. Very quick opening from Captain J. Banks to the left, hops to the 2nd peg, quickly to the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and all the way up to the top. Captain J now to the rolling log, hops on board, shoots the log, gets it underway. And Captain J hop, skip, and a jump. Gonna let the log roll him back to the platform. Nearly overshot the dismount, but now into the turbines. Quickly through to the third ring, the fourth ring, and out the other side, Captain J. Still over a minute to go as he hits the curtain slider. Big drop down, big sprint for Captain J. Goes up high, goes up higher, all the way to the tippity top. Captain J lands it, 50 seconds still on the clock, and just Crash Mountain to beat. Captain J can afford to take his time. Hurdles the first ball, big load of open space. Jumps back into the center, actually jumping off the top of the balls there. Nearly gets pushed off, but Captain J keeps moving all the way to the top. Hits the buzzer. 32.28 seconds. Captain J proving he means business. He's going to head back to the second stage. And will that bode well for Sonic Fan? Debuting in Tournament 10, he also has yet to be felled by the first stage. 5 stage 1 clears in 5 appearances, and got to the third stage in the past in Tournament 13. His best result though was when he took first place in Tournament 12, going out right at the end of the second stage. And Sonic looking to improve upon those statistics here today. Number 996, the start of the final 5 competitors. How will Sonic fare? Well, time to find out. 115 seconds, 8 obstacles. Sonic doing his usual trick of trying to fake out the camera at the start of the run doesn't work today, but he's now off and scrambling quickly up Shape Hill, sliding down the other side, and makes the landing. Now onto the bar crawl, quickly to the third, the fourth, the fifth, using the angle technique that we've seen so often today. Up to the tippity top, and now down the coat hangers. First to the third, to the fifth, still going side to side. Sonic lines up the trampoline, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, to the third peg, up to the fourth, now the 5th and the 6th. Sonic Fan quickly up to the top of the wall. Now onto the rolling log. Sets the log in motion. Sonic Fan looking to become the first person to get 6 in a row on the Elite Challenge. And the log's going to leave him behind. Sonic, he can't get a jump, and Sonic Fan out off the back of the rolling log, and that is a huge one. And now we are into our final 4 competitors, and all 4 of them have been to stage 3 back-to-back in the past, including RPG445, the Spartan Sasuke host, who is on a back-to-back stage 3 streak at the moment. And Rog looking to get through yet another first stage. Quickly up the bar crawl, down the coat hangers to the 6th one. Rog lining up the trampoline for the wall, big bounce, flies through the air, lands on the bottom peg. Scrambling up the right hand side for Rog, going the extreme right hand side, all the way up to the top. Now the rolling log, we've just seen it take out both Sonic Fan and Double Ump. Rog knows he has to take care with this one, and he's gonna get left behind, gets a phantom jump off of something. But Rog makes it to the bottom nonetheless, doesn't touch the track, and now into the turbines, quickly through to the 4th ring, dropping out the other side, 55 seconds to go, onto the curtain slider for Rog. Quickly up, drops down to that 4th ledge, big sprint to the 5th, saves it, goes back up high, saves it. Now he has a choice, he goes high all the way to the top. Rog, big jump to the dismount platform. And now just Crash Mountain standing in his way. Rog gets clipped a few times, but that doesn't slow him down. Big jump over from Rog. Hurdles 4 in 1 bound there. Gets tapped as Rog, but he saves it right on the edge with a slide. Gets back into the trough. Rog gets his bearings. Makes the jump. 18.57 seconds for Rog. And once again, he's back through to the second stage. 17 clears in total now. And still we have 3 more competitors left waiting in the wings. And if you were to go by the stats, they are the 3 best competitors on this course, including Fireball. He's chasing double digits on the stage 1 clears today. Former speed record holder for stage 1 and stage 2, and the first person to get back-to-back stage 3s on this course. He had a bit of a rut just after we went to 100 competitors, but he's bouncing back from that. 2 top 6 finishes in the last tournament for Fireball. He'll be looking to improve upon there and keep the upward trend going. 5 times a runner-up though for Fireball. Definitely the best competitor not to achieve a first place thus far. And as you can see, Fireball absolutely flying. He's up the wall already, still 80 seconds to go as he hits the rolling log. Fireball, early save, second, third, makes it to the dismount, now into the turbines. First ring, second ring, to the third, gets through the gap to the fourth, hits his head there on the dismount, but Fireball makes it to the platform regardless. And now quickly through the curtain slider, sprinting down the bottom the whole way, 55 seconds to go. And Fireball out the other side of the curtain slider, only Crash Mountain left to beat. Fireball hurdling the balls. Now he's got a bit of room to run, gets another hurdle off. Fireball, early jump there, gets knocked back. Still getting forced back, and Fireball, he gets knocked off! Fireball had so much time, but he's been denied nonetheless. Now, time for the penultimate competitor. This is Kiraria, debuting in Tournament 1, hasn't missed a tournament since. Made it all the way to 3-9 back in Tournament 11, made it all the way to the Doom Gaps. 9 times a Stage 1 clearer, 5 times a Stage 2 clearer, and was the first place run back in Tournament 11. And Kiraria looking to increase those statistics. Big fan of his numbers is Kiraria. Getting to a double digits on Stage 1 will give him a big smile. And that is his next port of call. The current speed record holder as well on both Stage 1 and Stage 2, so expect this to be fast. Kiraria, the latest gamer tag from Joey Davis, already out of date between recording the run and recording the audio for this video, and I'm sure it'll be out of date again by the time it comes out. But Kiraria, quickly bounce onto the wall, lands at the bottom, starts to scramble up to the 5th peg, the 6th peg, and up to the top. Next up for him is the rolling log. He has gone out on this before, so you'll have to treat it with a modicum of caution. But you can see lots of support in the background for Kiraria. Quickly now into the turbines, first ring, second ring, zigzags round the propeller bars all the way through very quickly. Almost does a D-mills on the dismount of the obstacle. Makes it to the platform, and Kiraria very, very quickly indeed through the curtain slider. Hops up high for that 6th ledge, drops down low and picks the pace up again. North of 50 seconds. It's not going to be a speed record today for Kiraria, but it's still a very fast run indeed. And just Crash Mountain left to beat, and he's hurdling off the balls. Punches that last one out the way. 40 seconds ticks by. Kiraria hits the pole because the landmine for some reason isn't there, but 39.07 seconds, fastest time of the day. And that leads us on to the last man to run. Number 1000. This is Fremo Direct, the only person thus far to attempt the final obstacle of the 3rd stage. He did so back in Tournament 8, which was one of his 6 first place finishes. In Tournaments 3, 5, 8, 10, and back-to-back in 13 and 14. Can he make it a 3-peat today? In addition, Free, the most successful Stage 1 and Stage 2 competitor on this course. So Free looking for his 12th Stage 1 clear. There's only a handful of people who even have that many appearances, but Free has that many clears. And to think it all started with him jumping the wrong way off of a ladder. Free though, quickly up the bar crawl, down the coat hangers, to the 3rd, to the 6th, to safety, now to the trampoline, little bounce, big bounce for the 2nd one, to the bottom of the wall, quickly jumping up the pegs, up to the 6th peg, up to the top. And Fremo Direct now onto the rolling log. Hops on board, opens fire, and down rumbles the log. Free, save jumps, 2nd save jump, little one to the landing, and Free now into the turbines, quickly dispatching the first 2 rings. To the 3rd ring, to the 4th, to the dismount, the camera struggling to keep up, and another competitor reaching the curtain slider with north of a minute. Free choosing to even skip that 3rd ledge for speed. He's just going all out. Is Fremo Direct all the way through, 51 seconds on touchdown. And now Crash Mountain stands between Free and another Stage 2 appearance, free hops over the first ball. He's hopping across the top of them. They're not going to stand in his way. Frimo Direct punches the last one out the way, makes the jump. Not quite the fastest time, but just in behind. 35.45 seconds, and Frimo Direct will complete the Stage 1 run order. 19 people advancing to Stage 2. There's Free there getting shot at in celebration. Not sure who that is down there, possibly Gendog. But either way, Kiraria would finish Stage 1 as the fastest competitor, followed home by Frimo Direct with Captain J09 the third fastest. Soul Reaper would make 4 first place finishers in the top 4, with only Smoky Massacre coming close. Vulcan in 6th ahead of Hunter Unit and RPG 445, with Disappoint and Tricky Cyrus also making it through with comparably fast times. The top half all within, or all north of 13 seconds left on the clock at the finish. Drago is back, would make it to the Stage 2 for the first time. Flamosaurus would end his Stage 1 drought as well, Eternal Flame getting through once again. TX Hot T for his second time. Crown Ferret makes it 4 out of 6. Halofan makes it through, as does Carson-Ioski for the first time. The first competitor up, Junsato Cyan, makes it through, and then Whirlpool as well, joining the 29 club with the slowest time, but still advancing to the second stage. And what will those 19 competitors have in store? Well, it's broadly the same as the last tournament, starting off with the pyramid scheme once again. The 3 pyramids with the nubs, transfer across them in any way you see fit. Slide down to the third one little nub on the back that'll take you into the mine shaft. Make your way down the corridor and up the lift shaft. Basically, floor is lava, the obstacle. And then it makes you way up to the Olympic rings, the 5 satellite dishes with the narrow ledges to hop on board. Then get on the Mongoose. For the Mongoose cliffhanger, the angled road. Little hop in the middle, little hop for a dismount, and that'll take you up into the big wall turn, called the U-turn. Make your way around it, across the bumps, and onto the landing. That'll drive you down towards the cattle grid. Avoid the gaps. Make the drop, don't get your Mongoose stuck, and then you'll be on to the rolling road with a few extra little bumps in it for good measure. Make your way across the cylinder, and then the speed check jump at the end of the stage. And if you can make it through to the end of the stage in 95 seconds or less, you'll be moving on to Stage 3. And up first we have Junsato Cyan. His 4th attempt at the second stage. 95 seconds begin, and Cyan onto the first pyramid. Slides back down to the first nub, makes the progress. Goes around the side, but he slips and slides, and Junsato Cyan off just like that. That is how quickly a run can end on this pyramid scheme. Up next is the debuting Whirlpool 730. No previous experience on the second stage, so he's effectively playing with house money. But he's looking to go as deep as he can. Whirlpool up over the top of the pyramid. Down the other side to the second. Up and over the peak once again. Drops down, makes the jump to the third pyramid. Up and over the peak, drops down the backside and into the mine shaft. Whirlpool making his way across the beams in the floor. And now onto the ledges that stick out. Choosing to go for safety, hitting every ledge on the way up is Whirlpool. Onto that halfway bar. Turns back around. Whirlpool still side to side. Penultimate ledge. Last one. Now he's going to send it for the dismount. Whirlpool nearly overshoots. Makes it back with a save. Now onto the Olympic rings. He's going to overshoot the first one and get a really late save to bring it back. Quality control there by Whirlpool. Second antenna now. Lines up the third. Another save. Whirlpool, time really ticking away. But he's just going for distance, but he won't get the fourth. Whirlpool down and out, and that was an admirable first attempt at the second stage. Now, Flamosaurus has been here before, but it was so long ago that it was effectively a different stage. In fact, I'm fairly sure the only obstacle that's still here from that stage was the Olympic rings, and even that's been modified But Flame quickly over the first pyramid to the second, quick jump to the third. Flame scrambles his way up and over the top of the third pyramid, slides down the back into the mine shaft now. First beam, second beam, third beam, fourth beam. Now onto the climbing section, first ledge. Choosing to go the safer path, just like Whirlpool. Flame, now he's going to take the shortcut in the second set of ledges. To the back. Now hopping to the dismount, first antenna for Flame. He's going to line something up, and Flame, he goes to the top of the antennas. The ruling says don't go on the back of them, it says nothing about the top, so Flame finding a loophole, and that's going to set him straight onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Beautiful orange Mongoose there for Flame, makes it across the Mongoose cliffhanger and straight into the U-turn. Flame, he's lost all momentum, can he get it back? He's slipping and sliding, and Flame down and out on the U-turn. And that is that for Flamosaurus. Here comes Carson Yoski now, the second of 3 Stage 2 debutantes. Carson onto the pyramid scheme and quickly starts to scramble up the first pyramid, slides down the back to the second pyramid, over the top of that as well, slides down, almost misses the nub for the jump for the third one there, but Carson makes it all the way through into the mine shaft. A little bit of a close call there, but he's still going. Carson, first ledge to the second, lines up the third to the halfway beam. Now the second set of ledges for Carson. Doesn't choose to go for the skip. As a result, takes the longer route. Big hop, beats the obstacle but slips over the front, and Carson can't bring it back further down, and he is out. And that brings us on to our final Stage 2 debutant. This Drago is back, and Drago back in the day would make mincemeat out of Halo Reach and Halo 4 style Stage 2s. So this would, even despite the length of time gap, this may not be too far out of his comfort zone. And Drago scrambling quickly over to that third pyramid, but he's going to slide back down from the peak, and Drago is out. Next up is TX Hot T, his second time on this stage, 95 seconds underway. Makes it onto the first jump of the pyramid scheme. He's trying a bit of a wacky technique there. It looks like he's trying to jump to the seam on the pyramid. You can get grip there, and TX Hot T gets the purchase. Sprints up and over, but he's going to have to save it on the other side. Drops down the ledges. He's having a bit of a mare of a time, is TX Hot T. He's trying to scramble back, get it under control. He's aiming for the seam once again. Big skip now onto the third. Makes it. Has done a lot of save jumping here. It's taking a lot of time to do it, but TX Hot T keeps on ticking. Now into the mine shaft. Along the floor, beam to beam. Now hops up the ledges. Goes to the Ton V ledge, I shall call it. Quickly to the second set, makes the skip. Now to the back ledge, saves again. And now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna, save jumps. Second antenna, save. Third antenna comes up short, and TX Hot T down and out. Time was incredibly against him, but he was just going for distance. And up next is Crown Ferret 19. An Irish, just like I am on Irish Warrior. He's capable of getting through this stage. He's done it in practice. It's just a case of putting it together when it matters. An Irish over the first pyramid. Onto the second. Over the top of that as well, slides down, makes the transfer to the third, climbing up and over the top, slides down the back, and Irish beats the pyramid scheme, now into the mine shaft. Hopping up to the first ledge, second, third, to the beam, spin around, keep going, Irish climbing his way up, penultimate ledge, Final ledge, big jump, beats the obstacle, saves it. Now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna. Choosing to jump deep into the antenna where the ledge is thickest, quickly straight from the second to the third, saves again. Irish to the fourth, quickly to the fifth, fast dismount. Now he's on to the mongoose, mounts the mongoose cliffhanger, taking it with a bit of caution, makes the hop, goes for the big dismount, makes that as well. Time's ticking down, but Irish, big high arc on the U-turn, and Irish, first person today to defeat the obstacle. Now onto the cattle grid, time really running out. Irish makes the turn, but he's going to get stuck, and Irish, if he can wiggle it free, can keep going, but time is about to expire, and Crown Ferret 19 timing out on the cattle grid, but that's still a very good run though from Irish. Check out Irish Warrior when that comes out, hopefully very soon, and we will see him back for the next one of this. Up next though is HaloFan17, another person here for their fourth attempt at the second stage. 95 seconds, 7 obstacles, and HaloFan underway. Scrambling up the first pyramid, down the backside, straight to the second, up and over the top of that as well. HaloFan not messing around, straight to the third pyramid. Up and over, big slide, down, now into the mine shaft. First beam, second, third, to the fourth. HaloFan not messing around today, goes for the skip, does a save, saves again, there's the halfway bar. All the way to the top, nobody comes up short on that second skip, and HaloFan out on the mine shaft. And that's going to leave us now to Tricky Cyrus. Second time on second two, could it be second time's the charm? Goes for the first nub, and he's going to slide back down. Tricky Cyrus out already, and that's got to go down as a bit of a shock. Now up next is Hunter Unit 751, the first person to run stage 2 today who's actually beaten it before. And Hunter, can he do it again? Hopping around the side of the pyramid, hopping around the side of the second one as well. Hunter, he's got a plan, sticking to it. All the way up and over the top of the third peak. Hunter slides down the back and into the mine shaft, along the beams onto the first ledge, skips the second, straight to the third, fourth, straight to the sixth, now the seventh, and Hunter not messing around at all, onto the Olympic rings with a minute to go. Second ring, going for the third, now the fourth, saves. Hunter slowing it down, making the jumps count all the way. Now he's onto the mongoose, and I've said this before a number of times, Hunter, a frequent DRL racer, knows how to handle a mongoose, and so he is in a happier place for him than a number of other competitors would be. Beats the mongoose cliffhanger, beats the U-turn, and now heads down towards the cattle grid. He's just seen Irish come up short here. Hunter taking his time, gasses it for the drop, doesn't want to get stuck. He's all over the place, but he makes it through the cattle grid. Now just a rolling road to go. Little hop there, then there's a gap. Another little hop here. 10 seconds, the klaxon sounds as Hunter, he's just got the speed check jump to go, but he can't afford to hang about. Hunter makes it, and for the first time today, somebody makes it to the end of the second stage. Hunter Unit 751, the first person through to stage 3. 3.72 seconds left on the clock. It's not a quick time, but he's made it, and Hunter chalks up another stage 3 to add to his resume. Now up next is Eternal Flame 395. And Eternal has the unfortunate distinction of being the most experienced competitor at Stage 2 who has yet to defeat it. So can Eternal get one on the board today and rack up a personal best? Over the second pyramid of the pyramid scheme, Eternal over the third, slides down, makes the dismount. Now along the mine shaft goes Eternal Flame, hopping up, skips the ledge. Eternal, beaten the mine shaft many times before, looks comfortable on the early sections of this stage. Now onto the Olympic rings. This is where things start to get a bit shaky for Eternal, but makes it through. Looks good today. Still 50 seconds left on the clock. onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Eternal onto the angle. Very slowly, very cautiously, but makes it through. Now onto the U-turn, picks up the speed, gets a big turn in and makes the dismount, lands it, doesn't overshoot. We've seen a number of people do that in previous tournaments, but Eternal Flame now onto the cattle grid. Holding that left-hand side, goes for the drop down, and Eternal goes into the gap, the same as Irish. Now Eternal has time though. Can they get it out? You can flip the Mongoose back out, you can try and shoot it. Eternal gets a bit of movement, but the time ticking away, and Eternal Flame is going to run out of time. Stuck in the hole on the cattle grid, and the cattle grid claims another victim as there goes the Mongoose. And Eternal takes off running on foot to get to the end of the second stage for nothing more than just for personal vanity. But up next is Disappoint. Third tournament in a row we see him on the second stage. Fourth time in total. And here comes Disappoint. On to the pyramid scheme. Spent a lot of time trying to work out the vehicle sections of this stage. A noted weak point in Disappoint's skill set, but he's still got to even get there before he can consider it. Makes relatively light work of the pyramid scheme. Now trotting down the mine shaft. First ledge to the second, or skips the second to the third, then to the beam, turns around, starts to climb, goes for another skip to the back. Now to the beam again. Disappoint lines up the Olympic rings. First ring. Backing up. Second ring. Overshoots. Saves it once. Saves it twice. And Disappoint lands it on there. Third ring now. Goes for the fourth. Another save jump. Big one for the fifth. Touch and go. Off he goes. And now 36 seconds. He's going to try and ease onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Disappoint, he's in the obstacle now, but he's getting a bit shaky. Disappoint, he gets drug off the edge, and Disappoint down and out on the Mongoose cliffhanger. Up next is Smoky Massacre, tossing the sword, catching it himself. Sixth time on the stage for Smoky. Another person who is noted as not being super comfortable on the vehicles, and that has been Smoky's Achilles heel on this stage in the past. See if he can put that to bed and join Hunter on the second stage. Smoky into the mine shaft already. Starts to climb. First ledge, third ledge, beam. Fourth ledge, sixth ledge, back. Now to the ledge again. Beats the mine shaft onto the Olympic rings. First antenna, second, save. Third, to the fourth. To the fifth, Smoky, now onto the Mongoose. Over 50 seconds to go. Can Smoky get onto the Mongoose cliffhanger? Yes, he does. Looking under control, looking smooth. Smoky beats the obstacle. Now onto the U-turn. Doesn't have so much momentum, goes very high. Can he arc it out? No, he can't. Very close, but Smoky, no cigar this time around. Gets taken out by the U-turn. Up next is the first of our surviving former first placers. This is Soul Reaper 1025. He's far more comfortable on vehicles than the last few competitors, also being a frequent DRL competitor, but Soul yet to get through a stage 2. Will today be the day? Will he join Hunter and make it 2 Brits on the third stage? Soul down the mine shaft. Starts to climb, skips the ledge to the beam. Soul, second set of ledges, doesn't skip this time, choosing to go for a safer route. Big hop to the bar, now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna, second, third, fourth for Soul, fifth to the landing platform. North of 50 seconds still on the Mongoose. Soul making very good time indeed thus far. Makes his way up the Mongoose cliffhanger with speed. Big jump onto the landing platform, going lower on the U-turn than others, but he's gonna make the distance. Pops a front wheelie, he's gonna get it back under control, and he's gonna pick up some real speed, sailing into the cattle grid. Soul going so fast, but he hits a bump. He makes it out the other side of the cattle grid, but slides off the rolling road, and Soul is eliminated. Up next we have Vulcan. He's been to stage 3 before, back in tournament 7. another, not just a DRL competitor for Vulcan, but he competes over in the Halotrax HTSX Next series. So Vulcan, even comfortable jumping around on the Mongoose. So we'll see how he fares today. Quickly though, through the pyramid scheme, down the mineshaft on the floor beams. Choosing not to skip the ledges on the way up is Vulcan. Second set of ledges, still not skipping. He's comfortable with his pace. Big hop to the final bar, now onto the Olympic rings. First ring, saves. Second, saves. Big hop to the third, straight to the fourth, saves again. Vulcan, fifth ring, dismount. North of 40 seconds onto the Mongoose. He's going to have to hustle a little bit here. Now it starts with the Mongoose cliffhanger. A little bit of a hesitation in the middle as he has to do a correction. Big sweep round the U-turn though. Even gets it pointed in the right direction on the way off and sails now down into the cattle grid. Pretty fast for Vulcan. Makes the drop. He's a bit ropey, but he makes it across. Now onto the rolling road. First hump done. Here's the jump. And the next one, Vulcan fell in this speed check jump in the last tournament he got here in. Will he make the same mistake again? No, he's built up the speed and Vulcan makes it. No, he doesn't! Vulcan fired the gun goose at the landmine and the explosions knocked him off the side, so Vulcan will not be going back to stage 3 today. What a shame. That is about as late as you could fail. I'm not sure he could have outdone himself from before, but he has. And now up next is Captain J09. Last time he was on the second stage, he cleared it, but it was a different looking second stage. Statistically, possibly, dare I say it, slightly a harder stage. So Captain J could be looking in good shape for another trip to stage 3 if he can do an equal performance. He looked rapid on the first stage and so far looking the same again on the second. Already beaten the pyramid scheme, already beaten the mineshaft. Hopping his way across the Olympic rings, just under a minute onto the Mongoose. Eases it into the Mongoose cliffhanger, starts to build up the speed. Little hop in the middle, little hop on the dismount. Goes over the bumps on the U-turn, makes the landing, points in the right direction, and now sets off down to the cattle grid. Straight line along the first set, makes the drop, 1 bump, 2 bump, 3 bumps, but Captain J keeps the pace going onto the rolling road. Little bit of a swerve there for Captain J, but all really that's left is the speed check jump. Builds up a bit of speed, knocks it off, and Captain J 21.23 seconds. That is a fairly huge clear time. And he will be going back to stage 3 for his second time in a row, albeit with about 6 tournaments in between. And here's someone who's looking to make a little bit of history. RPG 445. If he gets to the end of the stage in the time limit, will become the first person to get 3 successive stage 2 clears. So Rog with a bit of pressure on his shoulders. The Spartan Sasuke host on his way, his 95 seconds for 7 obstacles, one of them already down, and Rog down the mineshaft. Pretty much an identical stage to the one that Rog beat in the last tournament, so he knows how to do it. It's just a case of getting it done again. Rog straight now to the second Olympic ring. Third, fourth, saves. Goes for the 5th, big dismount. Hops on the Mongoose. Eases into the cliffhanger, there he goes. Starts to build up a bit of a head of steam. Rog looking a bit ropey, but makes it with the momentum. Going for the high turn on the U-turn, but he's overshot the dismount. RPG 445 is out. Now, 2 competitors left standing. This is Kiraria. 5 times he has reached the finish of the second stage. Looking to make it 6 today. Kiraria flying up the pyramid scheme. Slides back down the other side. Same again with the second pyramid. Going for the third. Up and over. Slides down. Makes the dismount into the mineshaft. And Kiraria, the stage 2 speed record holder, on this current generation of stage 2 he set it at, so you know he's going to want to move fast. He's comfortable moving fast. And quickly through 3, 4, all 5 of the Olympic rings. And Kiraria now onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Eases it in. Gets a pace he's happy with. Rides it up the wall there for Kiraria. Has to perform a correction. But he makes it nonetheless. Now on the U-turn. Absolutely Goldilocks it. Kiraria doesn't overshoot. And now onto the cattle grid. Can he make the drop? Oh, Kiraria's having to struggle, and he gets it out of the hole. Kiraria inching his way to safety. Now onto the rolling road. First hop done. First gap cleared. Kiraria having to reset himself onto the center of the road. The entire thing is a big cylinder. You have less margin for error than you think, but Kiraria now starting to pick the pace up. Little hop. Hits the landmine. 10.39 seconds left on the clock. Kiraria becomes the third person through to stage 2. Second person today beating the buzzer. And now that leaves us with one more competitor left to take on the stage. And if you were a betting man, this would be the guy you'd have to put your money on. Framo Direct. He's done it 7 times in the past, including in the last 2 tournaments. And Free down on to the second pyramid already. Big jump to the third. Lands it. Starts to climb. Slides down the other side into the mine shaft. Second ledge. Sorry, third beam, fourth beam. Onto the ledges first. Skips the second. Up to the fifth. Skips the fifth one. 6 to the 7th. To the dismount. Doesn't stop to line it up. Straight onto the Olympic rings. Through the 3rd, 4th, 5th. Just behind Captain J's pace, 55 seconds as he's going to ease onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Free used to not be so good with the Mongoose, since then joined DRL, gained a lot of skills, and that's going to help him out as he takes on the U-turn, goes up high but doesn't get the distance. Free drops out, hits the ledge, and he is out, leaving us with just 3 competitors standing of the 19 who made it through to stage 2. Captain J09 with the fastest time, 21.23 seconds, an absolute monster of a run. Kiraria making it through with a solid 10.39, and Hunter Unit with the slowest time, but he still made it through, and for as far as Hunter's concerned, that's a guaranteed top 3, he will take that all day. But these 3 competitors all have been here before, none of them new to stage 3, they all know how it works, and here it is once again for you all. First, climb up the ramp towards the disaster box, through the concrete structure, using the ledges, avoiding the lips, go up, back down again, and out the other side, and then you're onto the pointy path. These cones that were the death of Hunter in his last stage 3 appearance. Then you make it through to Dangerous, the hanging passage type obstacle, make the dismount of that, and you're onto the cliffhanger. Make your way zigzag back and forth up the wall as it steadily angles further against you, all the way to the top, and then drop back down into the trust fall. Get a jump off that ledge and make the gap onto the landing platform, and then you're onto the globe grasp. Make your way across the spheres, dismount, hop onto the Mongoose, and then you'll be greeted with the French twist. Moved to stage 3 in a recent tournament, no longer the gatekeeper of the stage, now deep in stage 3. And then you get across that, you're looking for the corner wraps of the Doom Gaps, make your way across them as they change in shape and size, and then you're onto the Destiny rails. Only one person's ever gotten this far before, but if you can beat that, get all the way to the end, defeat all now 9 of the obstacles on the 3rd stage, you'll be the first person to get through to the final stage of the Elite Challenge. And the first person to try it has had a bit of a wardrobe change. This is Hunter Unit 751. Wanted a bit better view of his footing, so he's chosen to ditch the combat skirt in favour of the more typical trousers. And Hunter trying to psych himself up. You wouldn't often be saying this on a 3 people left, but Hunter, the rank outsider in this one, the only competitor left standing who hasn't had a first place, nor even a overall podium finish, so Hunter with a personal best result if nothing else. But he's going to want to go for a strong performance, makes it up to the top of the disaster box, makes the first drop, now starts the second climb, doesn't want to get hooked under the ledge, makes the hop back across from wall to wall, one more jump to go, and then he's completed the second upward section. Hunter up to the top, and now he's got to do one final drop down before he defeats the disaster box. And Hunter, once again, 2 for 2 on the disaster box. But here's the obstacle that took him out in the past. The pointy path, heavily inspired by the old Ninja Warrior of Halo pillar path. And Hunter, you could say, getting a taste of his own medicine for making us do this all those years ago. And it's now his current ceiling, his glass ceiling, that he's looking to smash through. Now Hunter, second cone to the third. Saves it again, lands it, gets his footing, lines up the next jump, big jump from Hunter, makes it, saves a couple of times just to be sure, big hop now from Hunter, makes it, goes straight for the penultimate one, and Hunter is crashing out. That's a personal best result for him though. He will go away from this tournament feeling pretty happy with himself. But now, here comes Captain J09. And Captain J got here in the past, went out on the cliffhanger, very quickly making his way up the disaster box. Makes the jump onto the second upward section. Captain J back and forth, wasting no time at all. Even though there's no time limit, he's comfortable moving fast. Onto the cones, first to the second. Lining up that third cone. Big jump from Captain J. Lines up the next cone. Big hop. Saves it. Now starts to drop back down. Fourth cone. Straight to the penultimate one, and Captain J lands it. And he's gonna beat the pointy path. Now into dangerous. Very late jumps for Captain J. He has a technique. It's impressively late jumps actually for Captain J. Keeps his head down as a result, and now onto the cliffhanger. Very quickly skates along the bottom of the obstacle. Captain J now back the other direction for the first time. Starts to skip a ledge. He's hopping along. He's confident in his movements. Now he's on to that big ledge back across. Captain J hops onto the barrel, second barrel, third. Now onto the cover. Drops down. Here comes the big sprint. Lands it. Next ledge. Here comes the corner wrap around the air vent. He makes that with ease. Captain J back across. Final little ledge. And Captain J sets a new personal best. Beats the cliffhanger. Drops down into the trustful, big hop on the dismount, lands it. Now onto the globe grasp. First globe, second, third, fourth, fifth. Skips the sixth, straight to the seventh. Skips the eighth, straight to the landing. And now onto the French twist. He beat this obstacle to get to stage 3 the last time he got here. So he knows the technique, and Captain J once again gets across to the other side. Still very cautious. It's a difficult obstacle even once you think you've beaten it. But Captain J across defeats the French twist. Now onto the doom gaps, into the first gap, choosing to go down the right hand side. Second gap, third, fourth. This is the big one to the fifth gap. Nails it. Then the short gap. Then another narrow window. Big jump from Captain J. Gets all the way to the dismount platform. And for just the second time in 999 runs, we're seeing somebody attempt the Destiny rails. Captain J does the whip, gets all the way through. He's onto the final Destiny rail. Can he make it? No, he can't. Captain J comes up short, and that is as close as we've ever seen anyone get to making it to the final stage. And now we have 999 competitors down, and only number 999 left to go. This is Kiraria with a huge mark to beat if he wants to take his second first place finish. But he's been on this stage 6 times as Kiraria, very experienced on stage 3, second only to Frimo Direct. And he takes his little piece of history out of this tournament nonetheless. The first person to ever get to stage 3 in 3 consecutive tournaments. So Kiraria has to be happy with that, but he won't be happy unless he gets a good result. And a good result for Kiraria is not going out on the pointy path. Hopping his way through the obstacle. Penultimate cone. Final cone. And he's going to beat it. Now into dangerous. He's come up short on this before. Taking his time. Different strategy from Captain J. This time he's avoiding the low beam at the top. Going from side to side, but he beats it nonetheless. And now onto the cliffhanger for Kiraria. Makes it all the way across. Starts to climb back up again. Kiraria back across to the other side of the cliffhanger. Going ledge for ledge. Now onto the barrels. Begins to climb. Onto the halfway ledge. The wall starts to bank over you a bit here, so he's jammed himself in. Got to get the wall out from on top of him. There he goes, onto the barrel. Next barrel for Kiraria. Bit of a zigzag up. Hops across the barrier to the second. Has to save it. As we go ahead, Kiraria, big sprint. Look how narrow those ledges are. This one's a corner wrap round the air vent, and Kiraria makes that. Big sprint onto the final couple of ledges. Kiraria, one more to go. Touch and go, beats it. Drops straight into the trustful. Big jump for Kiraria. Big bounce, really big bounce in fact. Makes it with ease. Now onto the globe grasp. He's beaten this before. Can he do it again? Kiraria, third sphere. Goes to the fourth one. Fifth. Skips the sixth, just like Captain J did. And now onto the French twist. And Kiraria, just like Captain J, has had to beat this obstacle to even get to stage 3 in the past. That was with a time limit. Kiraria knows the score and he's gonna hang on. He's gonna slip and slide, but he's gonna keep going forward. Kiraria, as it starts to level off, gonna pick the pace up, beats the French twist once again. And now Kiraria onto the Doom Gaps. This is his personal best obstacle. Can he beat it as well and make it 3 for 3? And he's come up short on that third gap, and Kiraria out, and that's going to complete the tournament. Captain J09 coming within a hair's breadth of getting to the finish platform of stage 3. That's been the Elite Challenge 15. 1,000 total runs now in the books, and we see a new best of anyone from Captain J this tournament to take his second first place finish. Join us next time for more thrills, spills, and tests of skill on the Elite Challenge Tournament 16, coming soon.